Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Blood and Iron, Dead Man's Hand. Last we left off, there was a few things going on. Alex had become so enthralled with the ward glyph that was present in the basement of Aaron Winter's Haven. She more or less locked herself in Aaron's Haven for a couple of nights, studying the thing, trying to come to some conclusion as to how to dispel it, how to maybe get around it, maybe work out some kind of workaround to get past it. Because there's something back there that is just calling her name. Whether that's actually something calling her name, well, that remains to be seen. In the meantime, the rest of the coterie, Aaron, Shriek, and Dorian, went about some other events going on. One of which was tracking down some of the vans that had been transporting this and that from the hospital where Dr. Keller houses himself for the majority of his time. Kind of doing a bit of a stakeout, figuring out what this man is up to, what he needs various things for, what he is doing that they could potentially find out and maybe use. Amongst some of the information they found out is that Julie, one of the Toreador twins, remembered a certain word. Foxtrot. And maybe a little bit of conspiracy theorizing came over Shriek as he was putting puzzle pieces together. But it is a new night. And the coterie is still in the pursuit of these endeavors. And others. So, I would like all of you to make your rouse check for the evening's waking. Just a little bit hungrier there, Alexandra. Same for Shriek.
So, that puts me at 5 hunger, which I've never had before.
Indeed. Indeed. The hunger 5 will become a potential problem. But thankfully, Dorian and Aaron, your hunger is the same as you left it when you laid down in your havens for rest. Well, Aaron, you may have spent the night in your haven. You might not have. But either way, Aaron, you're going to come across a very hunger and starved Alexandra when you meet up. Did you spend the night in the haven with her there?
Well, I think that depends on her, considering she was the one that kicked me out there in the first place.
I mean, she's still in the basement. She's doesn't care if he uses the rest of the place, but she's intent on this basement.
Cool, because I like to sleep in the walls upstairs. Alright. I wake up. do my usual activities. I go about my business, fixing up the little bit more of the interior as I can. Alex might be able to hear some drilling noises upstairs for half a second before, maybe even some hammering, before finally I make my way downstairs to get to the bullets and the guns and find Old Faithful on the ground, wondering what the hell just happened. And books everywhere, and what looks to be a walking, talking, very corpse-like lady. And just kind of leans up against the wall, folds his arms, stares at her. You doing all right there, Miss Alexandra?
Alex is kind of pacing back and forth, keeps looking at this damn section in the wall. And it's very, she like kind of turns and she looks at you with this very predatory gaze. And one hand is still hanging reasonably limp by her side, kind of a bit shriveled and dry, burned and crispy. This damn door. Can't for the life of me get it open.
What is it about it? And Erin goes up to the door, kind of like he kneels down just to inspect it closely, tries to, like, he's looking at it.
Don't touch it.
All right.
If you do actually want
Touch
to
it.
observe something, though, you can make a roll for it.
I mean, why do I have to when our own scholar down here has been so busy at work?
Your choice.
Don't touch it. Take it that's got something to do with the arm there.
Yes. Touch it. This happened. Like, pulls out the fried, crispy arm.
That ain't no good. It's like it's gonna take a while to fix. He stands up and puts his arms at his side, and kind of tapping his boot, inspecting the situation, all of the books that have piled up, all of the different like materials and crafty supplies that have just kind of spread out throughout the room. He notices that the mattress has also been fixed up, but it has like top sheet over it and everything. Like, Alex has wholesale moved in here for this research.
Wearing the same clothes she's worn for 3 days in a row.
Alright. I don't mean to be prudent, Miss Alexandra. But if I could intervene for a second. I think you might be having a little better luck there if you're in tip-top shape. It kind of worries me, having you in this condition in what I functionally consider my home.
Sure. You are right. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't hungry.
He's aggravating. He's just in the way of what's really important here.
I need to figure this puzzle out, but you are correct
Could just eat him.
that right now I am not in the best mind state. So how would you like to take me out?
Empty. Eat him.
I'll do you one better. I'll keep helping you make sure you get back to tip-top shape, and I'll help you open this here thing. However, you need my help. Hell, I'll even bring in my old man in the shtick if we need to. See if he has any sort of ideas.
I'll talk Balthazar when I'm certain I'm not going to rip any throats out.
Eat Balthazar too.
Well then. I have no qualms with making sure we get you all fed up for the night.
Yes. Let's do that. Unfortunately, I still don't have a phone. So really need to get that sorted out.
I mean, as long as it's not on, it don't have no troubles around me. I can just buy one for you real fast.
And let's go and do that. Because I'm reaching...
I will eat him.
You are looking like a mighty tasty snack right now. So let's go. Yeah? Yeah.
That might be the first time a woman has said that, and it has been somewhat threatening as opposed to appealing.
As he should be.
Marion, despite everything, does have a bit of a smug grin on his face. And he does start walking back up the stairs.
Speaking of which, Aaron,
Alex?
what's your hunger at right now?
It's 2.
Okay.
Alex is gonna follow, maybe just a little bit too close behind him.
If one didn't know any better, she might take a swift bite out of that cheek. Or she might.
What cheek?
You don't know.
Ass cheeks, face cheeks, it all looks the same to her right now.
Blood. The blood! Alright. Aaron ushers her into the car, and he's gonna go buy just like a really easy, like, what are they called? Like dollar phones or something like that. Nothing that's like...
Just like a convenience store track phone.
Yeah, essentially. Buys a temporary phone number right at the register right there, and is like in and out in 20 minutes.
It doesn't even take that long because all of that's kind of pre-packaged into the package sort of thing.
Yep. He just kind of hands it to her back in the passenger seat. Looks around the lot and just kind of inspects. So, where to?
She is going to call that contact that he got for her.
Mm-hmm.
Pulling a little note out of her pocket with the number on it. And she's going to call them and set up the meeting. Because, goddamn, she needs some blood.
And goddamn, that plastic wrapped around that phone just cannot get off quickly enough. Alex, if anyone has ever struggled with packaging on things, Alexandra is looking like that, but a little bit more angry. At the phone itself, at the situation, at the fact she's let herself get to this point, that the packaging barely even survives. The instruction manual is torn to shreds. The phone itself is barely even able to to be
Likely,
it's lucky it's still in one piece.
I'm imagining it's just covered in claw marks now from her fingernails. Like,
She opens it up, turns it on, activates it over the period of a couple of minutes that it takes to do so, dials the number, and you get that contact on the line. And you sound desperate. Or you could try to not sound as desperate with a composure and subterfuge, my friend.
I will make an attempt. Oh, this is gonna be funny.
I'm useless for this.
I mean, my composure is normally pretty good, but my subterfuge is not.
There is a success.
There was a single success.
Which you feel might be enough to keep him maybe not asking questions. Maybe it's just that tone of your voice that gets him thinking that he really shouldn't be asking the questions that he may or may not ask, that he should just meet you right now. You'll pay cash, and so, Alex, I would like you to make your hunting roll.
Any modifiers to it?
Nope.
Cool.
Just remember your chase is a 4+. You have 6 dice on that roll normally, but you got 3 successes. And you can't willpower because you only have that 1 dice.
Nope.
So, do you want to succeed at a cost?
Yes.
Without even hearing the cost.
I kind of don't really have a choice, but what is the cost anyway?
Cost is you succeed, he dies, and you no longer have your contact.
Oh.
Aaron knew this was coming.
You fail. You fail, he doesn't show. Which you could potentially use again later. Your choice. Because you will frenzy.
Yeah. You know what? No, I'm gonna fail it. Oh,
fail?
I hate this.
It's my turn then.
Alright. She's taking the fail. The contact does not show. Does not answer his phone when you try to call him again.
Bitch!
And I'd like to find myself a couple of gangbangers.
Okay.
If your friends ain't showing for you, make an enemy.
Okay. So, Aaron, how are you going about things then?
Gangbangers. You know the usual type? Couple of hoodlums out on the street. Seem to be picking fights. Looking for those kinds. Maybe some kids who think they're gonna go ahead and nab a car somewhere.
Okay. So you're planning on jumping him in an alley cat style?
That's what it gotta be. It's what it gotta be.
Which, if you would like to do that, you may do so with a strength brawl as your feeding roll.
This is gonna be bad. Not bad for me, of course. Bad for them. And I would also like to willpower, because I actually can do that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you can. Could always succeed at a cost, too.
I ain't doing that. I want to have the option to save them, because then that's more detail I can go behind. All right, I'll take it. That's
Okay.
toasty.
So that is 5 successes. So you do capture an individual that either you yourself or you can hand over to Alexandra.
Let's paint the scene a bit. With Alexander having the shakes in the car, truck, I leave her behind there, frustrated and confused, and go about my business. Walk down the streets for a couple minutes before I find myself in an alleyway listening to the noises. What seems to be breaking? I recognize this household, simple little suburb place. Usually areas like this have kids. Even worse still, there's an elementary school just a couple blocks down the street. You can't be having that. Not in my neighborhood. Midnight Rider arrives. Pulls a man straight out the window right before he even has a chance to set a foot in it. Drag him out of the way, into the vehicle. I am pulling that shadow out. Darkness overwhelming him, probably scaring the piss out of the kid. I invite him into the back seat. Shove him in. Just close the door. I'm gonna give it 3 seconds. Exactly 3 seconds. And I'm gonna open it, and I'm gonna rip Alexandra off him.
Okay, we'll see how that goes. So, Alex.
Yes.
A adolescent, probably 17, 18 years old, has been thrown into your lap in the backseat of the car.
Oh, he's dead. But she's so damn hungry.
She is.
She's going to try to be gentle, but it is damn near impossible for her at this point. She really does need to eat. So
Do you take that bite?
he does.
Then I need you to make me a frenzy check, difficulty 4.
Yes. So much better if I had that thing. Oh, willpower. Five. She might actually have a minute. Modifiers, none, I'm assuming.
None. You're in this car alone with a 17, 18-year-old kid. Ooh,
Damn!
that's 5. It is difficult. Very difficult to keep yourself composed, drink slowly, try not to claw or bite or mangle this individual as more than you have to. You have your fangs sunk into the neck of this individual, and you're trying desperately not to dig your fingers into, not to bite harder, not to rip the flesh in the way of this vein out of his throat. You are drinking like normal. And by God, does it taste delicious. Because you force yourself to drink from old, preserved, or even medically separated blood. You force yourself to drink from these bags because you have some kind of compunction to do so. Maybe there's some sort of moral high ground you have as a result of it, but really, stealing a blood bag from someone, buying it off the street where somebody else stole it, it's still causing death, just in a roundabout kind of way. But you drink, and Aaron, when you open the door after those 3 seconds, it is not a fight. It is not a thrash. She is very still with this person in her mouth, just drinking. How much do you take, Alexandra?
I would like to take 2 if that's possible.
2? You sure you don't want to guzzle the whole thing down anyway?
Yes.
You could use it. You're mangled. You're hurt.
But she doesn't want to kill someone.
As if you don't do that already with the blood bags.
Tries not to. And it's the trying that's the important part. And although she will still be hungry, she'll be at a reasonable level. Won't be perfect, but it's better than what she was.
Aaron threw him at you, expecting him to die. Maybe the kid deserves it.
No one deserves it.
Well, I suppose that's for the ones who have moral compunctions to decide for themselves. But you take 2, leaving him dazed and confused by the euphoria, just sort of flopping into your lap once you've actually finished with him, had your way with the succulent and warm blood from his veins. That incredibly delicious flavor.
Aaron is gonna reach into the back seat next to you two, and he's gonna, from this duffel bag, like this golfing duffel bag, he's gonna pull out a pair of handcuffs. Opens them up, puts them on one of the kids' wrists.
He still seems a little out of it.
Ain't for anything egregious, I promise. You got yourself a cell phone there, we're just gonna go ahead and call the cops. He's trying to break into a household anyways.
All right.
If anything else, I'll at least get him to a hospital.
He shouldn't die. I was careful enough.
You were. You did a pretty damn good job there. We ain't done yet.
She steps out of the vehicle and moves a little bit away. Calls police.
No, Aaron's gonna go ahead and basically lock him up to the house that he was trying to break into's like meter.
Alex, what you feel from the blood that you have just tasted is incredibly intense. And maybe it makes sense with the choleric sort of taste on him because he looks a little bit like an athlete. Well built. Keeps himself in shape. Maybe you can taste the sort of aggression that may have led him to this life of break-ins. Not strong enough to clot, but very, very intense.
So choleric.
Yep.
Point of order, coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron does take his phone. He's gonna bring it back to Alex, and then he's gonna ask Alex to find 3 contacts in it. He's gonna write those contacts down.
Okay.
Yep.
And he's also gonna take any cash out of the dude's wallet.
Okay. So
Fuck it. I'm not the moral superiority here.
Swiping his cash. And you got the phone number from mom, dad, and sister.
Mom, dad, and sister. No, we're looking for friends.
No, she would not give family members. Absolutely not. She would definitely look for friends, contacts. No family. No.
Gang members, hoodlums, that kind of thing. Aaron is trying to figure out specifically, and he's going to point this out. Look for folks who seem like they're part of his little hood there, his gang, whatever sort of ordinance he's with.
Well, I'm going to call that a technology roll of some kind. Let's see if you can actually determine who.
What about investigation? Wouldn't that be an investigation check too?
I mean, there's names and phone numbers. That's really about all you have in your contacts list, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you have names and phone numbers.
We're trying to figure out which one is like
Which one is
a problem or not.
Yeah. So,
it's not like she's trying to like hack it.
if you want to do an investigation, sure, then that would be a wits and investigation.
Okay, I could do that. That's not so bad.
Send it.
There's a few names.
Decent.
Yep, there's a few names that you can assume are maybe some friends because they're listed by their first names. So you have a few names and phone numbers.
This entire time she looks so damn uncomfortable with this. But she keeps her mouth shut.
Great. All right. Next up, Naren's gonna take the phone. He's gonna bring it over to the the sidewalk, and he's just gonna throw it as hard as he can, breaking it, shattering it, and then picking it back up and putting it in the dude's lap and returning his wallet to him. All of that stuff.
By this time, he's kind of coming out of it.
Great. He's just going to chuck it from across the yard and then return back, start the truck. They're out of there.
And he's screaming obscenities as you're leaving.
No, that's too bad. Such a shame. Get one of them phone numbers there a call.
Sorry, what?
Better yet, see if any of them names in there happen to be in the local registry. We're gonna find those troublemakers. And I said I was gonna get you fit. So that's what we're doing.
Right. Okay. She starts going through it and trying to find anything that she can about these guys to see if she can figure out who they are.
I would
Where
like to
they are.
help.
So how
If
do
I
you-
can, I would like to try and help because Aaron also has 3 dots in investigation and 2 dots in streetwise. So if there's any names that seem to come up as like you would know as like, oh yeah, I've heard about that guy. He shot up a store last week or something like that.
Okay. That would be. So you're just calling up one of these numbers to try and get a lead on that. I'm gonna call that a charisma streetwise. On Alex's part.
Charisma. Okay.
Okay. Can I help?
can do that. Maybe.
You can help.
Cool.
So I get a 1 on that.
Mm-hmm. No. You called them up out of the blue. You start talking about. You just start saying some things, and they hang up on you.
Well, that worked wonderfully.
Out of the 3 numbers that you have, each one of them does the same. Based on that roll.
I take this phone doesn't have any sort of internet connection or anything like that attached to it.
If it does, it's rudimentary. I mean, it's probably, high speed for cell phones, but it's probably one of those pay-as-you-go sort of deals.
Yeah. Can't really. So with that, she can't really look up anything concerning these guys in any kind of directory. That's a bust, but it's fine. I can get myself sorted perhaps tomorrow night.
Have the whole fiasco go another night. Look, Aaron kind of like he drives the car over to like a parking lot by a park or something like that. Turns it off. He just sits in the car or in the truck and looks to Alex.
What?
That's what I'd like to know.
What do you mean?
I'm providing you my full services right now to be able to make sure that you are well fed. You're not going to have any complications. For everyone, that is of the utmost benefit for all parties here.
Logically, yes.
So what is it? What's the holdup?
It goes against my sense of sensibility. That's all.
Your sensibilities.
I know it sounds stupid, I know. Logically, it would make sense to hunt down another person and it harm none, do what thou wilt.
Maybe it surprises you a little bit, Aaron, that kindred, monsters, by all intents and purposes, by your own judgment, would think themselves morally superior in that way? Does she truly have a moral compass? It's hard to know. She's a monster through and through, though.
If I can choose to act like a man, I imagine any one of us can also choose not to act like beasts. Having our values, I imagine, is what keeps us on a straight and narrow. That's why this whole tower thing works. The Camarilla and all that. So I ain't exactly judging you for that. I think it's a word. Dignified, honorable, something like that. But in order to help you, I personally need to know, well, needed to know what those sensibilities are.
I avoid causing harm where I don't take joy in potentially harming people. That's why I drink bagged blood. And while that is still removing a helpful resource from others, it's better than taking a life. I've seen a life taken already. Firsthand. I don't want to be the cause of it.
Alright. So you like your sippy cups? Let's go find us some.
I think like is a bit of a strong word, but it's certainly preferred.
Miss Alexandra.
Yes.
No. I agree with everything you said. And he starts the truck, and he is going to do his extortionist general thing. He's going to try and find if there is another avenue for bagged blood.
Okay.
I don't know if this man is necessarily good at sneaking into a hospital, but if he finds someone trying to dispose of medical materials, he's gonna risk it for the biscuit. Yeah, he's got nothing on stealth. Don't ask him to sneak.
So if you're wanting to use your extortionist feeding style, what skill roll is that?
He has the option of manipulation and intimidation or strength intimidation. He tends to lean in hard on the strength intimidation by being like finding finding someone in question and being imposing. Usually this involves people in like dark, shady crowds, black market, that kind of thing. If this means that he has to really border on the domain in order to find groups like that.
Okay.
Actually, in order to find them, may I use my intelligence streetwise predator roll to try to
that would help.
You are
locate
welcome to hunt for
the
yourself.
way that I normally would.
The way that you normally would. So to clarify on strength versus manipulation, intimidation, manipulation is about that aura, that sense of dread that you might impose on someone. Strength intimidation is more you're pinning this person against the wall to get them to talk, sort of thing. You're actually using shows of strength.
I get that. I understand there's a difference between blackmailing someone and physically threatening them.
I think I can give you guys the clearest sense of what the intimidation is. You don't see me. You see and I'm on break.
He's just gonna John Cena them.
John Cena. But yes.
Oh my god.
Alex, you are more than welcome to hunt for yourself if you would like to use intelligence and streetwise for
help again
for your backup roll. Just keep in mind that bagged blood is rather scarce in your own domain. So, because there was a blood clinic and now there's not, it's still under construction.
Yes. Yeah.
Can I help?
But prior to this, she was finding people. So she's going to make an attempt to do it the way that she used to.
The way that
before the contact.
Yep, the way that you normally do.
Do I get an addition from my friend that is assisting me?
Yes. Yes, you do. Yeah, you do.
Yay. God damn it, I want to willpower that if I can.
You also kind of don't like the fact that you're going back to a bag that tastes like nothing. In fact, it tastes sour versus the very, very juicy choleric resonance that you have in your blood right now.
I know, but I'm gonna power 2 of those.
So keep in mind, with each of these rolls, you're eating up half an hour to an hour.
Yeah,
so
I know.
Really dug into most of your night. Yep, you have.
This is okay. This is what Aaron has agreed to put his night into, is just making sure that this girl is okay, because he's like, this is my lifeline in this domain.
Alex has come to know this domain pretty damn well. Like, she knows who's who and who to talk to, and this is not the first time.
Yep, you are perfectly able to find a single bag on the street, which would give you 1 more hunger.
Thank God.
But you would also know that as far as that resource goes, you may have tapped it for the better part of a period of time. It might be more difficult to find later on.
Yeah.
It's never a certainty when it comes to this kind of thing. It was when you had Dr. Olson's clinic to go and raid every now and again.
Kind of burnt that to the ground.
Yeah.
Want to know who does have plenty of bagged blood?
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Dr. Keller might.
I do not want to owe that motherfucker.
Primogen Keller. That's
Keller
Primogen Keller to you.
I do not want to owe him. I really don't.
I mean, who said you have to owe him? This is how Aaron operates. He's like, yeah, I'll do your dirty work. You're just gonna fucking owe me for it.
So, once she's got hold of the bag and gets back in the car, she kind of pops the top and drinks it very much like a Capri Sun.
Well, slim pickings, but something's been better than nothing, right?
It's fine, honestly. Can at least think straight, and that's what matters. Now, regarding base,
Regarding what? I'm sorry.
the basement. I may have somebody that I can get some more information of. But it's a matter of whether he'll be willing to cooperate. Care to meet somebody from my clan, Aaron?
I'm interested. Any particular way I should address him as?
Respectfully.
Any dark waters not to tread.
Just don't break any of the masquerade around. Or any of the traditions.
I do that already. I am a good boy.
Yes. Balthazar is a big believer in the causes of white.
Yeah. At least that's something in common.
Just treat him as you would anyone's sire.
Oh. You ain't seen how I talk to Vince.
Well, maybe not your own sire, but other sire.
Understood. He stews on it for a moment. You can see he's trying to think of something. As per usual, I probably have a limited time to be making discussions. So it's not to cause any sort of disruption. Main thing I'm trying...
I think Balthazar would be rather interested.
Only got so much free cash to be replacing light bulbs.
Oh, I think he would probably find that intriguing, at the very least.
Alright. Look. Best thing is...
Did we lose a Spectre? Or have I been lost?
You're still here.
Oh, no.
Okay. We lost a Spectre.
I disappeared.
Oh, there we go. I hear you now.
Could you at least see me?
I did for a brief moment. Now you're video.
I'll rejoin.
Yes.
Wah!
Wah.
Wah!
You might have had an internet hiccup. There we go.
I think I did. But I'm back.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
I'm back.
It hiccuped and then you were back. Yep.
What was I about to say? I was alright with him. I was alright with inviting you to see my home. Home, he says, with more emphasis, as if he's putting air quotes in the words. Here's the thing. I ain't too keen on bigger fish knowing about it. It isn't to stop you necessarily from saying where it's at. But if I catch him in there, we're not gonna have a good time.
Understood. You do understand that secret is something that my clan works. I have taken a copy of the sigil. And I have a fairly good understanding of the space around. I do not need to give the location or anything of the sort. Although I can't guarantee that he won't ask. So I will keep quiet on it.
It's appreciated. What? Where are we headed?
Where am I most likely to find Balthazar Coffee?
He
Besides
probably
Stonehaven.
right. He probably spends less time in Tremere spaces than most of your other Tremere peers. He's about as laid back as you are about your own Tremere-ness. Maybe to a degree where he has to play nice for the sake of the clan. But other than that, he really tends to keep to his own projects, which may or may not be something he's been assigned, or maybe something that he's pursuing on his own. He's always very cagey about the things that he's working on. But one thing that you do know is that he is often found at a library. Often found reading something. But there's something that catches both of your eyes as you're starting to drive. And maybe it's because each of you recognizes a face. A face that has caused each of you your own problems.
I don't know who the hell this is.
Maybe you do. Maybe you don't.
I don't. Olsen, the hell no.
Oh, but Alex knows him. And you notice her immediately kind of try to make herself a little bit less noticeable. Very hard to do with, the bright green dreadlocks and all that.
Just a pair
But
of
she
faces.
ducking the moment that she sees.
Just a pair of people walking down the sidewalk as you're driving up the road.
Aaron keeps driving, but a very important thing that I want to know is whether or not I do actually recognize this face. I have no clue. We've not established that.
I think you do, given your profession. She's maybe worked with your dad on a couple of cases. But as far as your personal connection with her is maybe a little looser.
So I do know.
You recognize her. She's someone that you have seen before, maybe have met. But she's more... When it comes to work, she's more inclined to ask your father for assistance than yourself.
Paul always was a thinker. Very charismatic, too. I just do a lot of the hunting bit. Aaron like I said, just continues driving at a normal pace.
Mm-hmm.
He does just kind of blink at her for a second as he passed by.
You pass them by as you would any other pedestrians on the sidewalk as you're driving down the road. Leaving them in the distance, in your rearview mirror.
Alex would, after a moment when she saw they've gone past, she would sit up and kind of look out the rearview mirror, trying to get another glance at that. Well, I wasn't expecting to see Dr. Olson tonight.
Oh. You happen to know the fellow with that lady?
Yes. He's a, problem.
Fine problem.
A little too smart for his own good.
One of those types.
He used to run blood clinic. Noticed a few things about the anemia patients in the area.
He's a good doctor.
Too good.
Damn. You see, Aaron, like, scratches into his beard. Almost as if it was like a nervous tick. Doesn't have the best fortitude, so, or composure in that regard, or anything like that.
I would like to insight that to see whether I can actually tell that that's
I mean, you can.
what that is.
Aaron, are you trying to hide it, or are you purposefully failing?
I have to purposefully fail because he's got like 2 fucking dots in manipulation and composure, and like nothing in subterfuge. I'm
Alex,
balls at this.
Alright, we'll just consider it a take half. So if you get more than 1 success, that's Aaron's easy to read.
So insight and what was it?
Wits.
Oh yeah, that's a 6 dice.
His secret is he gets other people talking.
The likelihood of you succeeding on this is very high.
Literally 1.
I mean, meets it beats. And Aaron's the defender on this one.
Oh, all right. I'll just take half.
Yeah.
Aaron, you see that Aaron, despite all of the bushiness of his beard, and like as stoic as he's trying to be, and locked in on what the current task at hand is to getting the location. The thing is that you couldn't help but notice that there was a moment where he did look back at the 2 pedestrians. And it was almost as if it was a double take, like, oh, hey, like, I know that person. The other person he did recognize. And it's more so in his body language than anything else before without even saying it.
Are you all right, Aaron?
Thought maybe that lady was someone I happen to know. Rather, my pa did.
Someone you happen to know. This wouldn't be from before you came on a bus, would it?
Is as you're thinking.
Oh, I don't know.
Me neither. Me neither. And he just continues driving. He does slow the vehicle down once they hit like a sort of like a four-way and hit the light. Should I turn around?
No, absolutely not. If you turn around and go back, what are you going to do?
Nothing, I guess. The worst part of me said hit them both with the truck, but I don't think that'd be a good answer.
I think that would be an incredibly bad answer. If she, so from what I'm understanding, she's involved with your family business, yes?
I think a better way to put it is she's probably this superior above us in any particular pattern. Winters are we're far spread and we tend to work independently. She's different. Something to do with the Vatican or some shit.
The Vatican.
Something like that. I didn't pay too much good attention on it.
Coffee, do I happen to know anything about hunters and their connection with the Vatican?
Intelligence occult.
Whew. This is gonna, great.
Should be a very high dice pool for you.
It is a huge dice.
It just goes from bad to worse.
none of my stuff.
If you have a specialty in maybe kindred history.
I have an academic in occultist.
That one doesn't quite
No.
apply.
No. You know what? I'm gonna willpower that because I am not leaving this up to fucking chance at all.
Okay. So there's 5.
Alex has been coming in with the fucking shots tonight, I just want to say. The high rolls, so many.
Not enough.
High or low. It's like range of extremes.
Yeah, range of extremes. She's either real shit or real smart. So, Alex. Over the course of history, as much as you've studied about kindred history, about the sort of stories that you've heard from the many regions of the world that you have visited and or lived in, plenty of things are clear. Always in mythos, it has always been the monster versus the Christian in a lot of mythos. And a lot of that does tend to fall in line with the Vatican. Catholicism tends to be the strongest of all, or at least most populous of all Christian faiths. Other faiths do also have their own versions of monsters and their own versions of heroes who defeat those monsters. Secret societies exist all over the world. The mere fact that the Camarilla is one of them should be one of those indicating factors. Maybe you can recall a couple of the more famous amongst kindred of secret societies when it comes to hunters. There's no way of knowing how she's affiliated. If what Erin says is true and she's working for the Vatican, then it could be any number of their monster hunting branches from just the stories that you know.
course, the one that comes to mind that they recently had to deal with was essentially Second.
Second Inquisition is an umbrella term to kind of encompass both the religious, the federal, and other sort of independent hunter groups as a whole amongst all of kindred kind. Second Inquisition is a very big umbrella. Some of the famous attacks of Second Inquisition cause have been the Chantry in Vienna, attacks in London, the U.S. federal government in Detroit,
She kind of looks to Aaron out of the corner of her eye as he's as he's driving. There's no chance that she's shown up because your uncle went missing.
I mean, depends on what my uncle was doing. Like I said, we're typically independent.
He wasn't.
Winters wasn't.
No, he wasn't. There was a group of them, and they were tried to take one of our own. Tried to ship them off somewhere. Held her in a facility. Oh.
Ship her off
Maybe
where?
24 hours. I need to look back through my notes. I can't remember. Alex would, but I can't.
Intelligence resolve, and I'll help you.
I've got the information I need.
Oh, you have your notes? Okay. I'll let you resolve.
Yeah.
I was going to help you, but you know. If you want to rely on your own notes, I'm not going to tell you no.
I mean, if Alex would know, she would know. Just
Yes,
saying,
she will.
man.
My brain is just not. Langley. They were going to fly her out to Langley.
What state?
I believe it was Canada, wasn't it?
Nope, DC.
DC.
DC. What the fuck?
She lists off the address that they had tracked Madam to. The one that Gerard tore apart.
That one safe house? Yep.
Yeah, that one safe house. Said, we wrecked the technology in that place. There was a lot of computers. We had a lot of it sifted through by a specialist.
Coffee?
Mm-hmm.
I imagine that the name has came up at least once. For any Winters. Can we hire low the name of the organization? Because I don't know if Aaron... if he would pay attention to it is the problem.
Instead of a high or low,
Uh-huh.
what about an intelligence resolve?
Oh, Jesus. Well, I can do that. It's all gonna be resolved, I'm pretty sure.
Because that would rely on his memory.
Oh, it's not terrible. Alright. That's 5 dice. I'll do it.
Okay.
Send it. Bloop. I will go ahead and take the willpower reroll because why the fuck not? I got nothing better going on tonight.
Okay.
Fine. That's 3.
Okay. And so your question specifically was in regards to the
Name of the name of the organization.
Okay. The name of the organization that his uncle Winters was a part of?
Harrison.
Specifically, and this is how I imagine the history would have came up.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron and his father have been all throughout the United States.
Yep.
They have hunted many supernatural creatures, mostly vampires.
Yep.
The question, I imagine it would have probably come up within the 2000s when it became a thing regarding the Society of St. Leopold. They probably would have tried to acquisition the Winter's help. Tried to probably recruit them at one point.
In fact, I would say a couple of organizations have actually pinpointed them for help.
Mm-hmm.
The Society is one of them. Kind of in vague terms. Kind of keeping it very hush-hush. Both of y'all wanting to keep things very quiet.
Mm-hmm.
The other being the U.S. government for a series of projects they were wanting to run.
It's like Project Stargate, still active.
They would have approached your father probably in the early 2000s into the late teens. And those are the organizations that your father would have been reached out to personally. And his brother Harrison might have also been among those people asked.
Okay. My pa, growing up with him, there were a couple different groups that reached out with him. There was, there was the Vatican, there was U.S. federal government, asked him to work some sort of a couple of secret projects down in Nevada once. DC has a couple connections. There's another military base that they were doing some messed stuff at that they asked him for regarding the intel he held. That was a rough one. They thought he was part. That was a funny story, actually. They thought he was a Soviet spy or some shit. Weird whole thing. There's another one. Society of Saints? Society of Saint something. Fuck. Saint...
Is there a chance that I've heard of whatever he's trying to get out?
Yes. Yes, you have.
Yeah.
Leopold.
Society of St. Leopold.
That one. And Uncle Harry, he was as good as my pa. In a couple different ways. I probably drank a little bit too much for some of those projects and organizations, but, it's beside the point. Thing is it could be a number of things. But if he wasn't working alone, if he was up to some higher, if he was working for someone else in any particular way, my best guess is he's ex-mil, so it might be the U.S. government in some particular fashion, or that society. They seem to have like a type of militarization. I don't know if it was necessarily federally funded or anything like that. They had Phil's arm to the teeth, though. Kind of gave me Blackwater kind of vibes, if that makes sense. Mercenary work.
See. And your uncle was involved with these people.
I can't say with certainty who and what or why, but I imagine if he was involved with them or if he was speaking to anyone, it'd be one of those.
There was a woman who was also working. And she wouldn't give us anything about it. She was put in the care of another kindred. But her name was Kyra. She had white hair and she was a very lovely woman. You wouldn't happen to know that name at all.
Don't ring a bell.
Okay. Well, regardless, seeing somebody with potential ties to a hunter organization and a lovely doctor walking down the street together does not inspire confidence.
In your professional opinion, how many feet deep are we up in Schitt's Creek right now?
Dr. Olston is a very smart man. Very good at putting things together. Too good at putting things together. If he could notice how much problem this domain is in, without having any connections to anything like that, just as a doctor working with anemic patients, how many hunters do you think have recognized them? Especially if he's talking to them.
I mean, to be fair, if I was still human, just about every sign in this entirety of this here neighborhood is pretty telltale for me. And I ain't smart.
Yeah. So how deep in Schitt's Creek are we?
I can still pull this truck around. That's just saying. It's
Sadly, I don't think that would make it.
no, it'd probably aggravate the situation. All right. Well, fuck. This.
All we can do is one thing at a time. Starters, we see both. And then we can talk to the others. That.
All right.
one thing at a time.
Which I think is a great place for us to take a quick break. So strap in, everybody. It's getting juicy. Welcome back, everyone, to Blood and Iron, Dead Man's Hand. Where we had left off, Aaron and Alexandra had been talking about the potentials of a certain set of individuals they saw as they were driving up the road, and those individuals walking down the sidewalk. What that could potentially mean, since they both seemed to recognize each of the persons that were walking. But that was probably closer to midnight, 1 a.m. For Shriek and Dorian, it's a little earlier in the evening at this point in time. And both have found themselves at a church. A church different from the one that Aaron finds himself sleeping in, that Alexandra has been fixated on. No, this is a very different church. A church that Shriek knows relatively well, as this is the place where Sister Charity and her congregation meet. It is the place where Dorian found himself face to face with a gangrel named Terry, who seemed to dislike him just sort of strolling up to the church and chowing down on an individual who had been praying. And so, in a way, perhaps Dorian is seeking to make amends or to strike a deal. And Shriek is along for the fun. And maybe to garner some favor in his own direction. We'll have to see. But currently, both of you are outside the church, likely arriving in your own separate vehicles. Shriek, now that you have a sort of pest-proof vehicle that you can drive around town in now. Try as they might, the little buggers cannot get into the fabric. They can squeeze themselves between the cushions, but that's really about all. No, they will not destroy the fabric, or the cushion inside, or any of the other sort of nice things about the interior of this vehicle. Worst they can do is crawl around, and that's about it.
Well, I'd be grateful for small things, though I am waiting for Mr. Resner to end up showing up. Least I can do is help him out, though I don't know why he wants to take me to church. I'm not giving up my puritanical ways for somebody else's. Now, who am I kidding?
Dorian rolls up. In which of your vehicles, Mr. Resner?
I would just be in my normal Audi.
Rolling up in an Audi. Okay.
Yeah. Very nice car.
still very much upscale from the one that Shriek owns now. But maybe that's because, well, Shriek is a person who upstages anything just by existing. So does he really
I
need
figured
a vehicle to upstage him too?
Shriek was more a fan of old American muscle than foreign imports.
Hmm.
Besides, it goes a lot faster than it looks.
Hmm.
Most of the money in that thing is underneath the hood.
Indeed. But you both are in the parking area of this particular little church. Seems the parking lot is mostly devoid, as it's the middle of the week, and so far as you know, the meetings of the congregation are maybe once or twice a week, 3 times if you're lucky. But you find yourself outside the church, so what do you do?
I would walk up and greet Shriek.
Okay.
Good evening.
Mr. Resner, so good to end up seeing you. Darling, how's it been?
Oh, things have not been terrible. There's been some interesting things with the other two, but I'll leave that for them to explain when we meet up again. It's a story.
Always a flirt with the information. So,
Wow.
let's end up cutting this real quick. Is there a reason that you're wanting to end up dragging me to church? Have
Well,
me confess my sins, maybe?
We don't have that much time. But this is merely a prelude to what the big thing I wanted you to help me with, or that you might have been interested in later on tonight, is a meeting with one of the bigger players of the city. I'm merely here to try to extend the olive branch. I have a side project that might bear some fruit.
Might.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
That's a quote for when you're about to do something stupid. Hey, your time. Just don't risk my eternity on it, and we'll be fine.
Oh
Still, I'm not sure if she's gonna end up liking me suddenly storming in on her place again. Not probably one of the few that I'm on okay terms with, but guess it depends on what you need. So what exactly are we here for? Cut to the chase.
I'm going to start offering a service to people in the area that if they need things cleaned up or transported. Ways to keep some of the higher ups out of things. Keep things from getting out of hand. I noticed that they said they needed more time sometimes, and this might be a way to give it to them. I'm a hell of a sucker for finding a market to exploit.
Tell me something I don't know. Better make it good.
Resner was not always my sire's name.
This one's on the short end of the stick, and the first one's gonna end up. That's gonna be on the chopping block. Scourge already came for her once. Probably is looking to make a rematch, and this time they don't have a primogen to end up intervening. So if she ends up coming knocking in here with her big protege, there's pretty much jack all I can do about it.
Mm. Yeah, I'm trying to keep that as far away as I can for them.
Yeah, good
That was
luck
the
with that.
plan.
Going against them without the leverage of Primogen means you're going up against the will of the prince, can end up becoming kind of muddled. Having
Oh,
that
no.
position kind of afforded me certain, amenities. Also meant that I didn't have to worry about the Scourge coming in knocking on my door without my say-so. Now, all bets are off.
Oh no, I'm not going against them directly. I'm trying to keep information from getting to their ears that they need to come in the first place. Trying to keep things as clean and tidy in our domain as possible. I don't want to give them the excuse that they need or want.
If you say so.
And I would go, and I guess the easiest way would be to go and stand inside of the door at the back pews.
Okay. So you're going inside the church?
Yes.
Okay. Trigger, are you following?
Absolutely.
Okay.
After all, I haven't paid my visit to confession in a while.
How long has it been? 30 years?
Like I've ever gone.
Good little Christian boy indeed. Well, when you enter into the church, you do, of course, see that Sister Charity is going about some of her regular duties of cleaning up when it comes to the sanctuary. She's making sure that everything's tidy, that the floors. She's currently got a broom in her hand to sweep the floor, trying not to, look like she's doing much else. She just seems to be maintaining the building.
Does she acknowledge us when we come in?
She gives you a look and stops for a moment, then pauses for a brief second, and then sets the broom aside, and then comes to greet you. Good evening, gentlemen.
Sister Charity. I came to have a conversation if you have the time.
I have nothing but time.
Well, that's good to hear. Last time you sounded like you didn't have enough. And that's something that worried me and played on my mind. And I decided that I was going to do something. I'm going to start an operation to offer to people in the domain a way to transport or clean up things that need to be done to try to keep things as tidy as possible and not give an excuse for certain parties to come visit.
Are you saying that you think I'm performing some kind of illicit
No, I'm
thing?
saying that if you or people that you know should ever be in trouble and need assistance, that I'm trying to help.
Well, that is what I have a coterie for.
But everybody can be caught with their pants down.
Language round a sister.
It's a figure of speech, one that I didn't know another way to say.
You are presenting an offer.
Yeah.
An offer that I'm sure has strings attached.
Well, like any service, some kind of payment would need to be negotiated. But that, I'm not trying to take advantage of people. I'm trying to make this domain a better place.
How very then true of you. I understand what you're aiming for. I have a target on my back already. Thanks to a member of your clan.
If I may ask, who would do that?
Jade.
I've heard this name before.
As I'm sure many around this city have. She's the daughter of a trader.
Well, I hope that one bad example of my clan doesn't spoil it for the rest of us. I did want to extend this to you guys first because of a tense first meeting. A way to make amends.
Oh, I remember that. You hear Terry coming in from the other room.
Ah. Miss Terry, it's good to see you again.
Sure it is.
I'll just get a smile.
And if it isn't the former Primage and Shriek.
Wow. So glad to be remembered.
You come to be his lapdog.
No, sorry.
Go ahead.
I would never deem him a lapdog. He is a valuable ally.
Mm-hmm. That's what you call all lapdogs. Where are my manners, Mr. Esner? You have graced us with your absolutely perfect, prim and proper appearance.
Well, one does try to put his best foot forward. Best foot forward, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Did you happen to overhear my proposition?
I did. So, how do you how you want to do this sort of transport and delivery service of this, that, and the other? Doesn't matter what it is, I guess. Even if it's people, or if it's bodies, or if it's drugs, or if it's guns. It doesn't matter to you, apparently. And so, if the people that you're offering this service to can't pay you, what you gonna do then?
There's always something someone can give.
Does it look like we got much?
Information, favors.
Honey, we're barely keeping it together, trying to keep our mouths feet here.
Even good
I
will.
think that's understandable, given how it is that you tend to bite the hand that offers anything that more. Oops, did I say that out loud? So sorry, Sister Charity. I'm just reminded of an old proverb. Besides, Terry,
Mm-hmm.
you're not big on the negotiating table yourself,
No.
so maybe you should leave it to cooler heads. Because right now, if I didn't know any better, I thought you were trying to take a nun over the table.
I don't know what you're getting at.
Well, you decide to end up saying, hey, we don't have much to offer, and well, clearly courtesy is in short supply. You're right, I was a former primogen, picked up a lot. You think I didn't end up paying much attention? And you barking at somebody who's on the side, at the side of somebody who's trying to help. Well, I'm not going to
Look,
speak for Sister Charity, but I would find that disrespectful at the very least,
I
and almost
already
a
said,
saboteur.
we already said what would be the best thing to be able to help us right now, and that is keeping the scourge out. Now, if you want to do this whole venture, and if that helps, fine.
That is what I
Terry,
decided to try to
Terry,
give
why
you
don't
more
you end up
time.
telling them what happened the last time that they came around here? Who was it that ended up putting their neck out for Sister Charity in this little NECA domain? Because last time I checked, you weren't there. Seems to me you're here for all bark. When Sister Charity needed you most.
That was before I was invited here.
Right. So remember you were invited here. This is a discussion between Mr. Resner and Sister Charity. So, if I'm a dog, you might want to end up learning a lesson from one. Sit down and either be quiet or learn to beg. Either one of them doesn't do particularly good at this point, but if you want to end up being the front yard dog barking too, try and remember who's the one that needs the help. Resner's trying to end up finding a way to do this on the cheap and he doesn't want to say that because it's been true sensibilities won't allow him to end up saying what we're all thinking. You don't know how to pay him back. He's trying to end up finding some way to help you, despite the fact that this is putting him in a very precarious situation, because maybe he ends up feeling some degree of solace with Sister Charity, and you're here to muck that up. Now, are we here to actually deal and try and end up getting this together, or are you going to end up getting nail pissy because you want to end up flexing on the previous primogen of the realm?
I'm
Get your
not
shit straight.
flexing on you. I'm
You're
trying
right.
to make
You're
sure
barking.
he's made of stuff sterner than his mama's balls.
Might want to be careful on that attitude. You are in a house of God, after all.
Fine. I'm just making
Alright,
sure he's put his money where his mouth is. And he got
I'm
a lot
here,
of money.
aren't I'm here, aren't I? Think I'd be here if he didn't have some kind of backup in that regard.
I think
Something
you'd be here
flex.
in this particular domain whether you wanted to or not.
in this church. I got a lot of better things to do, as does Mr. Resner. Now, I'm going to cool off for a minute. I'm going to suggest you do the same, and end up letting the two people who were supposed to be having this discussion actually have it. So are you done barking? Or, darling, do you want to go for round 2?
You don't gonna go rounds with me.
Okay. What is it, the proof that you're looking for? You want proof that I can fight? Do you want proof that I actually care? Do you want proof that I'm actually doing things? What's going to satiate that need?
Anything. Because I am not convinced you care. You just showed up out of nowhere one day, and I don't know shit about you. And if I don't know shit about you, then Sister Charity don't know shit.
You don't know how much I've already invested in this domain. You don't know how much I've already done. What I already have in the works. I may not be able to just say, let's take it out back and I'll show you how strong I am.
That's not
Like
necessary. Sister Charity finally speaks up.
Like I said, I am already doing things for this domain.
As am
I'm
I.
working on housing. I'm working on bringing in more food. I'm working on improving our situations.
At that point, you would probably get a signal from maybe just a glance or something of the like, if Mr. Resner. Now would be the time to let the sister speak. You're not trying to...
I apologize.
Remember that you're not trying to prove... Kind of that reminder. You're not trying to prove to Terry. Terry actually has no say here. She's all bark, but she has no standing in any part of this conversation. It's Sister Charity that you need to look for.
I apologize, Miss Sister Charity. Let's let cooler heads prevail. You were saying?
I was saying that I am also helping this domain. I am also helping this domain by making sure that your Primogen, our Primogen, is busy with his new toy.
Can I insight just to see, like, if I can figure out what's going on? What toy they're talking about and, like, what her motives are?
Sure, yeah, insight check. Wits and insight.
I want to try to get a handle on this so I can steer this conversation.
4's good. Terry's pretty convinced that that she can step aside in the conversation for the time being. Charity, you get the sense that she's being cagey on purpose because not because she doesn't want to reveal it to you. I mean, there is that. But it might put someone else in danger.
Okay.
So she's looking at you like you shouldn't press it. Otherwise, the whole thing could fall apart.
Well, I'm glad we're both looking out for the best interests of this domain. I'd like to work together in that aspect. You two were the first outlet to bring this to. And I slowly wanted to spread the word of this throughout the domain. I just remembered that someone wanted more time, and I wanted to try to mend any frangs in the relationship after our first meeting. Because
Sure.
after all, knowing
You must
our
forgive Terry. She's very possessive and territorial. She looks over to Terry. And can get a little heated when it comes to my safety at this point.
it is good to have an ally as such.
As I didn't have an ally like that before. Not immediately available at beck and call.
Mm.
She looks over to Shriek. So I took it upon myself to join Terry and myself and Celia together as a coterie to try and assist one another where we can. So perhaps those who are less fortunate would be better recipients of your gracious offer.
As I said, I want to spread the word, and I figure this is a good first stop.
I appreciate that you thought of us. So, what can we do for you to make what you're aiming for a success?
Just put the word out to those that you know that are less fortunate. For those that don't have anything to pay, and they're in dire need.
That could describe every kindred in this domain.
Some are more hard for others, but any kind of information, small favors, even just building bonds, people that you can depend on. We'll take it as it comes, depending on how hard or how big the job is. I'm not out to exploit everyone, like people would probably see, but you have to get something out of it, otherwise, well, people wouldn't trust me if I was offering it for free. And I don't think my lineage would let me anyways.
So no matter what, you're in a pickle.
But I have to try.
What is it that has you living in this domain, Mr. Restor?
Everyone's here for a reason. I chose to come here because I saw vastly underutilized potential.
Is that what you saw?
I see that we could improve things and build something from the ground up.
If the prince would let you.
I haven't been told no yet.
By there being so many of us here, it's as if they are. So, you came out of the goodness of your heart.
You could see it that way. I also like to develop things and build things from the ground up. And there is plenty of areas in this domain where the only way to go is up.
Like I said, that could mean anything.
Mhm.
No one chooses the gutter. Not even you, Shriek. You're in the gutter because that's where they put you. Like me. Like Charity. Or like Celia. Like Terry. Like every Thin Blood. Like every former Anarch. Every Bruja. Every Gangrel. Every caitiff. Stuffed in one place. So that we fight each other.
I'm not the one who's out wheeling and dealing threats. And as far as that whole thing goes, the prince has every opportunity to end up killing us. Wouldn't take much more than a whim, really. And he's already tarred a good portion of the people here, and oftentimes justifiably so. Now, are you here to end up proving him right? Or are you here because you might have found a little slice of eternity and you're just pissed you didn't end up starting at the top? You have all these gifts, all this capability, and all this time. I just ended up deciding of going with the people who are thinking a little bit more forward. And this whole situation, 100 years, I'll be laughing about it.
If you survive.
It's not an if, honey. It really isn't. Everybody else. No. You know what? Maybe that's a conversation for another time. Suffice it to say, I am simply here to end up assisting Mr. Dresner in understanding the circumstances of the domain and trying to end up helping him understand where his talents may be most needed. Now, if they're not needed here, I suppose he could just apologize for wasting your time and move on his very way. As he said,
they were ever needed, I'm sure we know where to find you.
That's funny. Just my biggest concern is are you two still going to be here? Is I'm not always going to be around when the little pistol and tons of fun decide to walk in. And when they do...
It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
And when they do? What then?
Then I suppose I've done my duty. Have you?
Such a fatalist attitude. Makes sense. Catholic, right? So, let's put it all on the table. What do you actually need? No more vagaries, no more dancing around it. You either need them or not. Time may be infinite, but our patience is not.
Can you make more people appear in this domain for us to feed on as a whole in this domain overnight?
Not overnight, but it is worked on.
You say worked on. How?
I'll just spout off my other couple clubs. Have you ever heard of them?
No, should I have?
You must not get downtown very often.
No.
Let's just say I'm going to open new ventures here. Draw in some of the surrounding people. That's what I do.
So, do you want to know a little bit about the demographics of the people you're trying to reach?
Information like that is always a valuable thing.
So, suburban families that may or may not be a little down on their luck. Plenty of houses, plenty of places to live. Some people are struggling and some others aren't. That's what I do. I gauge the people.
I think I have the perfect idea then. Streak, I was just struck with inspiration.
Lightning has just struck his brain.
Something that I haven't done before, but I have seen in other places. It'll go well with families, and also draw in the kind of crowds that I want.
Aside from the families that you see around here, you don't see anything other than houses and a couple of shops, maybe some fast food restaurants. This is suburbia.
I think I'm going to give them something fun to do.
It's where the middle class either struggle or waste their time with their lawn. So take with that what you will.
Thank you for this. I do appreciate the information.
So, does that mean that I've paid for a version of your services already up front?
I believe so. Information is one thing that I definitely deal in.
Then I say, I will call upon your services when I need them.
I will gladly provide services within the means that I can. It has been a pleasure. Should any of you people, or please spread word of if they need it, and he'll pull out a card with a number on it to a burner phone that he set up just for this service.
I will let you know.
Just tell them to call this number.
I will call you directly.
And he'll reach out his hand to shake both of their hands.
Sister Charity will shake your hand, and Terry, grumpily, will do so as well.
It's always a pleasure. Have a great evening.
Terry just seems to walk off and just disappear into the back of the church.
And as he's walking out, as he always does, he'll tuck a couple of bills into the alms box.
All right.
Just because, well, he was raised Catholic, so.
And Sister Charity will go back to her cleaning duties like she was.
I'll wait outside for Shriek. Oh, you're muted.
Shriek will follow right behind.
All right.
He looks a little disgruntled about the whole thing, but what else is new?
As they're walking back to the car, you know, I think I did get inspiration for our new business.
Glad you got something out of it.
It definitely hammered down what I needed. And the direction, so that it wasn't a failed business attempt and we didn't have to re-hone in on what we need.
So glad to hear that.
You okay, Shriek? Never censor yourself around me. I always want to hear what's on your mind.
Oh, nothing. Maybe I got too comfortable. Most of the time. Well, for a while there, I kind of got used to the whole Primogen title. Kept most of the back talks and backbiting away. And then I ended up hearing that bitch talk to me like that. Just wrestled up some old memories. Say I'm not exactly popular amongst most of the kindred in this city. That's fine. I can handle it. Just needed a reminder, that's all. Just needed a reminder I'm not welcome here. Which is fine. I don't have to be. Just gotta be on top. Because it's bitches like that always end up making my blood boil just a little bit. Reality is most of them wouldn't end up knowing what to do with the good intel if it came up and bit them in the face. See, I can deal with the sister. Sister, you know, she's got certain amenities to end up dealing with. Gangrel time, always dogs bark and want to end up bringing you down to their level and then beat you with experience. She seemed to forget just who it was that I am.
Well, anybody that doesn't see your value are extremely short-sighted.
No, I'd like to think so. I just don't have time for this kind of bullshit anymore. All right?
Yeah.
All I need, emphasis, all I need, is just be on the inside track. I get all these little bits of intel. I'm waiting for that one that really matters. That one that lets me turn this whole house of cards on itself. Because I will be... Oh, go ahead.
No, I said, well, I need to eat something. But we have a meeting later tonight that might provide something from that.
Well, I'm going to go eat right now. Because dealing with bitches like that always leaves me a little bit hangry. So...
Meet me here at this time. And we're going to go meet... Hold on, let me pull up the name. We're going to go meet Jacob Thorne.
Oh, that's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Well, you wanted me to try to get information, and I need to know how to deal around getting things done around the Primogen. I figured who better than someone that works public works like that.
Sounds like
Knows
more
the
of
city
your
and
rep than mine, if I'm being honest.
probably, but I never say no to having backup. And like I
Happy to
said,
be of service, Mr. Dresner.
and let's be honest, sometimes your mind thinks in ways that mine doesn't. And it's a good thing to have around.
You say so.
I'll meet you there. And I'm gonna hop in my car and go eat.
All right. So you each are gonna go eat. So, Dorian, how are you going about this feeding of yours?
Well, I remember I'm basically trying to take on a new feeding type since I'm out of my normal element. And I'm going to just go and try to go to local bars and pick up someone.
In the siren or sing queen sense?
Yeah, in like a siren sense.
Okay. Then, for that, to seduce someone to whisk away with you to a hotel room, that will be a charisma subterfuge.
Okay.
You need 4 successes for your domain. 5 if you're not, 5 if you're wanting to be picky. Uh-oh. Ooh, yikes.
That's not good.
You have 1 success, so I will allow a succeed at a cost.
Alright, what are you tempting me with?
Huh. That is a good question. What can I tempt you with? You will get as much blood as you would like to feed upon, but you're stealing it out of someone else's on the domain's mouth. As in, they will go hungry.
No, that's not what I'm trying to do.
So you'd rather take the failure?
I'm trying to do the exact opposite. And if I go to stealing something out of someone else's mouth, then it's going to set a bad example.
Okay. So you are accepting the failure. Okay.
Yeah. Do I have time to try again before the meeting?
I did say that the meeting was somewhere around midnight, right?
No, you said the meeting was late.
Late. Okay. So you would have one more attempt if you would like, or you can give Shriek an attempt. That is what you have time for.
Oh, Shriek's not separate?
Is Shriek feeding separately, or are y'all feeding together?
Yeah, we split up.
Okay. Then yeah, if you're taking 2 attempts, then Shriek would get 2 attempts before you would be scheduled for the meeting.
Okay, let's try one more time.
Okay, so that's 4 to get to not have to spend willpower.
I'm gonna try to. It's spending a willpower either way, so.
It's either spending 1 or spending 2. That's your choice.
Oh, it's 2 willpower to drink?
It's 2 willpower to drink something that is not your flavor profile.
I'll try. I'll try to re-roll a dice then.
Okay.
Hopefully get it.
Okay.
Okay.
So you only spend the 1 to find something of your desire. You are able to successfully feed. So how much are you taking?
2 dots.
2. Okay.
And
That's-
I'm going to activate a power.
Oh, what you doing?
Lingering Kiss.
Ooh.
To get them to maybe come back and make it easier to feed next time.
Does get a little risky sometimes.
Yeah.
But they may be the type that you like, but the flavor of it is just off. There's nothing there. It's kind of bland.
Tofu. We got tofu.
Yeah, and it's tofu with maybe a bit of soy sauce. You're looking at something that is barely even has any flavor in it anyway. And so there's like this slight little twinge of something, but you can't even tell what that would be.
Mm.
So, Shriek, you were also going to attempt to feed on something tonight, weren't you?
That I am.
So, first attempt. Sneaking in and finding the opportunity. Ooh,
Like a pro.
That is
Like?
a 6, and okay.
like a pro with time to spare.
Unfortunately, that also means something else.
What does that mean?
I'm at hunger 4.
That does. Yeah, Hunger 4 is indeed a difficulty 3 frenzy check, my friend.
And I only recovered 2 willpower that had this past rest.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Skin of the teeth. Skin of the teeth.
Of your teeth.
We take those.
We take those.
I'm taking 2. I'm
Okay.
taking 2, just enough to kill the edge, just enough to give me something to function. But I am ever more grateful.
Riddled with anxiety as you're going into this house, because you know as soon as you sink your teeth, there is the entire possibility that you could get lost in your hunger. And you know that. You could feel it in yourself. You've been living with your beast for who knows how long anymore. You know that feeling. When you walk into a house, it's the perfect setup. Everything is just right. But you are the one who is on the edge. You're the one who has the sort of hunger pains in your gullet that just won't go away. And as soon as you sink your teeth, you... Instead of being overwhelmed with the hunger itself, you are instead feel a little more calm. Because as hard as it is to remain calm in this particular situation, much like Alexandra had done before earlier tonight, you remain still as you just drink. You breathe in, you breathe out. Not that it's necessary, but it calms the nerves.
Old habits.
Old habits die hard. So, after calming yourself and enjoying the sip for those brief moments that you are spending with this individual asleep, you then lick the wound and pull your fangs away. and they will never be the wiser, which is exactly how it should be. Otherwise, a perfect hunt. Nothing disturbed, any more than you already want to disturb some things by nicking a watch, or pulling out some cash, or swiping an ID or a credit card. They're not
Look,
gonna
we
miss
all
it.
have our we all have our little burdens to bear.
We all have our needs. And occasionally even a kindred must spend some cash.
True. It's true.
So, you have a little bit more time to spare, as Dorian seems to be a little preoccupied for a little bit more time.
Then I will take this opportunity to quickly check on Madame.
Check on Madame. Which would be at Miss Morn's.
Mm-hmm.
You arrive at Miss Morn's and she greets you with a smile, informing you that Madame is recovering nicely. That she has helped her as much as she can in the way of feeding, and that things have been otherwise going well. She seems to be a not so burdensome house guest. You do see that that she is still kind of hobbling around, but is getting along. And she just says hello to you.
Sorry, I was muted when I ended up trying to speak. You really shouldn't be up. I was told bed rest was the best thing for that kind of thing.
Well, I'm used to having to be up on my feet rather quickly, even if something like an
That's not
injury
the
were to
case.
happen.
That's not the case right now.
I know. It's different now, but old habits.
Sit.
She begrudgingly sits down on the couch that's in the living room of Miss Morn's shack. A swarm of bugs just seem to skitter around as she sits.
I sit right beside. Had to sleep on this couch more than a few times, you know?
I don't know how you did it.
Screaming for the first bit, then getting the ick, then
Yeah.
eventually the ick never left, and now it's just become the norm. Are you okay?
Oh, it's just I would rather be at home.
Yeah, home's not a good place to be right now, especially given the new Primogen.
I'm behind on what else going on.
You're behind on a lot of things. You hungry?
I could eat.
Feeling like a goddamn mama bird right now.
But always could,
And
you know.
with that, Shriek bites into his wrist.
She hesitates for a moment.
Not a lot to go around right now, and as you can probably guess around here, feeding's kind of slim. I'm trying to do it the best I can for two.
Are you sure?
Miss Morn ended up giving me that privilege, and I'm giving it to you. thin as your blood might be, you're respected. You got a place in this here domain. I intend to end up keeping that. If I didn't think that, I wouldn't have bothered saving your life. I would have left you dead in a gutter.
So
Just
I
a
guess
small amount.
she nods and takes a sip from your wrist. How much are you giving her?
1.
Okay.
It's all I can spare without risking frenzy from this point on.
Right.
And when she does so, she can see that Shriek is still horribly mangled. Like, some of his ribs don't seem to line up where they're supposed to be. He's still pretty banged up from his last encounter. Technically speaking, he's still suffering from 2 aggravated damage at this point.
You need it more than I do. I don't heal like you do.
You're right, you don't.
I'm sorry.
So the last... No, I'm not trying to be short with you. And he waits for her to feed. He just watches her.
And,
I'm not sure what... Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say she takes the one like you've offered.
He licks the wound shut. You need to end up resting. You need to recover. When you come back into the domain, things are going to have changed. Not the least of which, we now have a Malkavian primogen leading this domain, and the domain has expanded to include his own.
Malkavian.
Our dear Dr. Keller. Yeah, I wasn't excited about the news either, but we all knew the writing was on the wall when we took that primogen position.
That part is true. Interesting that color would be the new primogen.
You know something I don't?
He's not well liked. I'm sure that's what everybody knows.
Oh, that would explain why he's king of the fuck-ups, isn't it?
I suppose.
I personally think that he's being set up to fail. But here's hoping. But since I'm no longer primogen, it's not my concern. My concerns right now are you and the twins and the coterie, which now has 2 new members.
So why keep me around? I'm still confused given how you found me.
That's not the real question you want to ask, is it?
What question do you think I want to ask?
Why do I keep you here? Why do I give you a place where you can't be found so you can actually heal? Why do I go out of my way to hunt for you too?
You seem to be adopting a lot of wayward kindred.
Is that such a bad thing?
It just means you have a mama bird sort of personality.
Please. Now, this is all
deploy.
You wouldn't
Yeah.
believe me if I told you.
Try me. Because for all intents and purposes, I looked like a traitor.
Mm-hmm. Which would put you nicely in this domain, now, didn't it?
But not just a traitor to the Camarilla. It would be I was siding with the Second Inquisition, given how you found me.
Hmm. That is right.
So you think maybe I have some information that you don't know?
It's far more simplistic than that, really.
Then tell me.
He looks up, like as if he's looking out a window. Like as if through that rotted, infested wall, he could see the city right to the perimeter. For all my misgivings of Prince Warzi, for as much as he may not like me, for as much as Marcelli might end up keeping an eye on me, as much as I hate the idea that some dimwit ended up embracing a fucking child that became psychotic enough to end up basically turning into a man-eater. As much as I hate the idea of Keller being primogen, I believe. I believe in the Camarilla. I look at all the disgusting little things that everybody does. I know most of their secrets. I know where they hide the bodies. I know what they do in their off time, especially when they're not wanting to be watched. I know all the sick and twisted things that our kind gets up to. And there's no one to keep them on a leash. There's no one who's going to end up going out of their way to end up saying, hey, you know what? There's no... That one you can't pick on. There's no one who ends up saying, here's a rule that we all gotta play to. Everybody wants to skirt the rules or take them as a suggestion. I don't. I believe that the reason that we have Primogen Keller right now is for the exact reason. He's a fuck up. He's being set up. Justice is actually coming. And it didn't have to come because of some people with a revolutionary complex. That little bit of corruption weeds that shit out, believe it or not. It weeds itself out. You get too big, things fall on you. You turn out of line, things fall on you. Because right now we are a gaggle of monsters. And the Anarchs, they might promise you something, but in the end, you don't really have any power yourself. It just costs somebody else. But here, there's a chance to be something bigger. And to keep it all the way you need it to. The way that everybody knows that it should be. And elders, they're long-lived. Sometimes they'll end up treating me like shit. That's normal, like everybody else. I mean, hell, I had it happen earlier today for somebody who was 5 minutes older than I am. but at least there's rules to it. And that includes Thin Bloods. I think what we're about to find is a new paradigm shift. I end up hearing whispers, too, of really old pairs of fangs suddenly getting up and leaving. That suddenly everybody's clamoring to try and hang on to positions and others are coming up. But to the people with me, go ahead.
And do you think that will happen to Dallas?
It already is. I'm not here because I'm a fuck up. You know why I'm really here?
Why?
I'm here to look for all the ones who misstepped. But believe, really know. I'm looking for all the ones who are worth having a second chance. I'm looking for the ones who... I'm the dividing line between, are you going to fall to the Anarchs now that you've been spited, or do you actually believe in this thing too? In its own cynical way, the Camarilla eventually has to make its own... Wow. True believers. And the ones that join me along with that, eventually they start to become part of this city in a way that everybody else who's complaining on what Warzi did will never get. Warzi's not going to be forever. I think he's too ambitious for that. Princedom doesn't suit him well. Feels uncomfortable in that chair. He does like to grandize. I think his eyes are set higher. And when he moves out, who's taking his place? And how does the whole deck get reshuffled? It's the ones that believe and position themselves in a place where they can end up not only being of the greatest service, but they have to be put in, that are going to lead. A game of corruption is just that, a game. It's a great dance. Everybody's complaining about the beat, but nobody's looking at the dance floor. Except me. Because I know that compared to all the other options out there, the Camarilla is my one shot. And I think it's yours too.
In that, I think we have something in common. Because it was the Second Inquisition that took everything from me. And then the Anarchs that took everything else.
I'd like to roll an insight.
Alright, it's an insight.
And I want to know if she's lying to me. Is she trying to deceive me in any way?
Alright, it's an insight.
Nope. I got a 1.
And you're not wanting to willpower any?
Can't afford to.
Because that's 3 1s in your hunger dice, and that would be a bestial.
But there's still 1 success, so it doesn't go to bestial.
Yeah. I suppose in this case it would be degrees of success, so.
Ah, well.
She's made... You can tell by the way that she speaks that she is older than she looks. and that her speech is very measured at all times. It's like she's aware of how blood bonds affect her. She doesn't want to anger you, but she also doesn't want to lie to you. You get the sense from this conversation that she's not lying per se, but she is measured. She wants you to feel as if you have invested well in her by blood bonding her.
That's a disappointment, but not to be unexpected. Still, blood bond ought to keep her proper. He stops for a minute.
But to clarify that, she believes and is honest about what she's saying when it comes to the Anarchs and the Camarilla. She's not
Madame.
lying about that.
Okay. As far as I know.
That's right, you know.
Madame. Once you heal up, I want you to tell me exactly what you want to do. I want you to end up being very clear about it. I want you to be well rested and focused. You can do things that I can't. I'm going to do everything I can to try and end up making sure that you come out of this alive, so to speak. That unto itself is a life bond.
What I want? I don't want to be thin blood. I am lesser for it. I had more strength and dignity as a ghoul before she embraced me. And she was the one. She was the one who was chosen first. Even though I was already there. She took it from me.
I can make that happen. I guess the question then is it worth my time? But I think time will tell on that one. He stands up from the edge of the bed. Madame, get your rest.
Yes, of course.
Heal. He takes 2 steps and stops. Turns back to her. That's the second sip you've taken from me.
Yes, it is.
I'm gonna come back. When I come back, I will offer to feed you again. If you take it, if you believe me, on my honor, I will end up doing everything in my power to make sure that you get your wish. It's very rare somebody gets to choose what master they serve.
I'm very aware of that.
You are. I'm sure of that. And maybe, just maybe, you can also teach me.
What could I possibly teach you?
He looks. His eyes point towards Elysium so far away. Like he's staring at Prince Warzy on the throne right now from such a great distance. What it means to rule. I think that's a good time for him to bail out of that scene.
And I think it's also a good time for us to call it a night. As it is getting late. And of
Yes,
course,
it is.
we do have more things that we do need to get to at some point from the in-character night, but we will conclude the session for tonight so that some of us who do also have day jobs can get to work.
Yeah, Coffee, I'm just going to end up bailing right now. If you don't mind, I got to end up getting back to it.
Oh, well, we've
Yeah.
got experience and everything. Don't go just yet. So everybody's going to get their experience. So there's the one for everybody showing up. So, woo!
Yay.
And then there's the deliberation between who had moved the plot the furthest.
Easy choice for me. I went ahead and put Dorian extending an olive branch to Sister Charity and later Jacob Thorne. I think all of that is rough and tumble, but honestly, it is more steps than anyone else has taken in the past couple of things that were not personal plots. So I think it's interesting.
Okay. Well, I'll go along with that.
Okay.
Okay.
What does Derek think? What does Mox think?
Mox, what do you think? You're muted.
You're muted.
I said I am happy to go with that.
All right.
Sounds like unanimous.
Unanimous it is.
Congratulations, CJ.
Thank you.
Best scene.
I want to give it to Shriek, either for telling Terry to fuck off with her barking, and or the scene with Madame. That one kind of
I
had
think
it
the
out for
scene
my
with
heart.
Madame, that was good.
Well, that one seems unanimous too. So I guess Derek, you get that one. Best
I like
li-
that scene because it showcased something that I always like, or the one thing I do like about Shriek. As much as he seems like a flamboyant stereotype, it's not until you see those private moments do you see that unto itself is a mask to who he really is. Yeah.
It's true. It's true. Okay, best line.
From your professional opinion, how many feet up Schitt's Creek are we?
Yes. Yes.
And as well as I can always turn the truck around.
Oh
Yeah,
god,
honestly,
yes.
I forgot about those. I was going to put a line in for like, you'd have no idea what I've already or what I'm already starting to do for this domain, but those are fucking hilarious.
Yes,
It's
they were
true.
fantastic.
It's true. Well, what about Derek? What do you think? What do you think?
I gotta give it to. I can always turn this truck around. That was the one that's like immediately. I kind of imagine
Classic
Aaron
parent
with a
moment.
whole bunch of kids in the back screaming, and "Don't make me turn this truck around!
Classic.
We will not go to Disneyland."
Classic. Classic. Well, it sounds like a unanimous one to me. We still got halfway
Yay.
through the audience poll, so get your votes in, everybody, as to who is claiming the the audience's favorite for tonight. And so, did want to give a couple shout outs to those who rated tonight, like Maddie, who was it? Oh, forget who it was. Just had to look up in the chat. Dice and Destinies, they came in on the raid earlier today. So yeah, thanks guys for raiding. If you're still here, my name is CoffeeCat. I do a lot of tabletop RPGs, and so we've got Vampire the Masquerade, and then we have D&D on Saturdays that we do here on this stream. So anybody who's new here, welcome. My cast members are fantastic. They're a joy to play with. So
Oh yay!
you guys are great. So my favorite people. And of course, my D&D cast is my favorite D&D cast. It's all that. So what did y'all enjoy? Just all together about the session tonight.
I like the little sprinklings of the changes that are occurring in the domain. We now have a second Inquisition plot that is bigger and worse than before. That's always great.
You told me
The
that's what you
situation-
wanted, so I'm giving you
I
what you
love that
wanted.
triple effect.
Yeah.
I just like the
love a good
sprinkling.
triple effect.
Everyone's starving in the domain. That is now becoming a thing. It's now
Mm.
very apparent.
Mhm.
I will admit I'm a sucker for Madame.
I love her
I'm a
too.
sucker for Madame and the twins. I'm not gonna lie. I am all in on those three.
Yes.
Um,
They're
and
Shriek's
This
so,
babies.
lady-
They're Shriek's babies. Do not touch.
The fucking Madame has gone through like 3 separate chronicles. It's about goddamn time.
She started as Violet's sire's ghoul in Detroit, and I stole her.
And then she was in Austin. And now she's here.
Before Austin, she was in San Antonio.
Yep.
No, you were right. She was actually in San Antonio. I don't think she was in Austin.
No, she
Now that
was
I
not.
think about it. Yeah, no. Okay, I was
No.
wrong.
she's been in multiple Coffee Cat Chronicles, but not to the point where she's rivaling Chunk in appearances.
I don't have a version of Chunk. Chunk is not one of the characters that I bring back all of the time. No, it's more along the lines of
No,
I will-
he's
I will call back
he's
to my old
always-
world.
Chunk
Oh,
is a
yeah.
universal constant.
Yes, he
I'm
is.
starting to really love too the tie-ins into our actual backgrounds as well. Like we're seeing the stuff with Dr. Olsen, we're seeing the stuff from Resner's backgrounds popping up a lot. I'm enjoying that.
That's what I do best. I've actually had time to think about these things over the last couple of weeks, so you're welcome.
Hey, I have a question, and I'm probably gonna dump myself in the chip for this. Am I rolling for my humanity? Am I taking a stain?
For the harm,
Oh, shit, that's right. Because you...
because you
Set off
You did
And
feed
it
off of
harm none, do what thou wilt.
You fed
Hey, you
off of a
didn't
person.
frenzy.
You didn't
I
frenzy.
did feed off a person. I didn't frenzy. I didn't kill him.
Mm-mm.
But she's still
If
iffy
she
about
still thinks that that's causing harm to someone,
it. Yeah.
she has a very interesting way of. She definitely does have an interesting set of morality, because while she understands the blood and how important it is to humans in their veins, stealing the bags of which that could be donated to another person is definitely on a different morality scale for her, which is an
It is
interesting dichotomy.
It's definitely different because that blood is freely given up. While it may not be freely given up with the intention of it going to her, it is still blood that somebody has given up happily. Whereas when she's taking it from another person, she is forcefully stealing it directly from that person.
Alex, the dubious consensualist.
The dubious
Yes, that's
consensualist.
exactly what it is, though. Like, that's where her morals go.
It's a roundabout way for sure, I suppose.
Yes.
But yeah, if you feel that that is a worthy stain for Alex to take for doing harm to another individual, if she believes that that would be harming another individual, then I say take a stain.
It really.
Shriek, you got audience XP, by the way.
Ooh, I love
All
you.
right, let's get the remorse roll.
All right, so remorse roll, go. Do you feel
Roll
pity?
Do I feel bad?
Do you feel bad? Where's your remorse roll?
My computer is being.
It's like thinking about it.
Being
The computer has to also figure out if it feels
I've
bad.
got to roll the stuff. So remorse dice. I'm not used to doing.
It is
It's got
total number of unfilled spaces on your humanity tracker. So you've got your 7 for your humanity, right? And then you have 1 slashed for the for the stain. So whatever blank spaces are left is what you roll as far as number of dice.
It's a 50-50.
You always get at least 1.
because I'm pretty sure
You
she feels bad.
feel like garbage.
It tasted good, but it feels bad.
Oh man, did it taste good. But it's kind of it's kind of got that same sort of feeling of, yes, I really do enjoy this feeling.
But I feel guilty as shit.
But I feel
You
guilty
snuck
as
a
shit.
bacon. You snuck a bacon cheeseburger while being vegan.
That's exactly what it is. Legit, like.
That's kind of. And
This is gonna make me sick later, is what she's thinking.
And she's probably gonna beat herself up about it for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because she drank from a vein instead of a bag.
Yeah, she's actually probably kind of doing loops in her head.
And possibly even feels partly bad about the fact that she got herself to that point in the first place.
Yeah. It's a wee bit.
There's that combination in there too, where she realized, yeah, I was on the brink of not waking up if I continued to not eat. I was on the brink of, passing out at the slightest bit of needing anything more to drink. I was running on fumes.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
Is she the highest humanity in the group?
She is humanity 7, right?
Yeah.
I'm also 7.
Oh, cool.
Character. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I'm also 7.
Yeah, Aaron, Dorian, and Alexandra are the highest humanity because they're all at 7. Shriek is at 5.
Shriek sacrificed so much.
But Shriek is also at the point where you start to lose humanity less and less. You've kind of leveled out, in a way.
Yeah.
where you stop
he doesn't
dropping
push it.
nearly as fast.
Yeah.
Unless you're Dorian. Or not Dorian,
That's a
Kane.
cane.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, unless
the
you're
big thing,
Kane.
the big thing with Freak is almost everything he does is some kind of measured response.
Hmm.
Like he's gonna flex when he can get away with flexing, but the reality is he's
Kind of a coward.
yeah, yeah, he is. But I don't know. There's, I kind of like his screwed up response with Madame. As Madame, it's like, okay, Shriek, this is either going to be your redemption arc and just playing it through with the means that the Camarilla allows, or this is going to be, well, to quote the Pantera, a vulgar display of power. There's only two ways this goes, Shriek. Don't make me regret it.
So long as it's a satisfying ending at the end, I am happy to do whatever it is that you will for the character. So, with that being said,
Freak, are we cowboys from hell? Or I'm just
Yeah, I don't think I don't think Shriek would ever qualify as a cowboy, but
probably not.
You literally have a cowboy. What are you talking about?
Look, he tried to ride that cowboy, but he was barking up the
Full
wrong
on
tree.
told
Okay?
no.
Did he get his 10
Dean
seconds
Winchester
in?
is like, faggot.
Ugh.
Oh
My
wait,
God,
I'm not
there was
supposed to
so
say
much-
that. I'm sorry.
TOS, TOS.
Ah!
I was getting
Twitch,
so
don't
much-
listen to me.
I was getting so much Dean Winchester tonight from Aaron. It was insane.
It's true. It's true. It's true. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will be back next week for more of Blood and Iron, and of course, be around for Saturday for some Rebirth, a D&D tale. So catch us live here at CoffeeCat Presents on Twitch, and be sure to check out YouTube because I post all of the VODs there. So you should go and do
This
that.
one might be edited.
Maybe just slightly. But I don't think YouTube cares. Whatever. But such as it may be, you should go and subscribe on YouTube. You should get in on the Discord because the Discord is the place where we announce everything to do with all of my shows and whatever else I might be getting up to. So, say goodnight, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
And a good eve to you.